Welcome back to Cosmic Comics. Youngblood Strikefile is a Youngblood spin-off series. The original 4 issues were published between April and October of 1993. The first 3 issues are flip books, which split the issues into 2 different stories. One half is focused on Die Hard, and then you flip it over and the other half is Chapel. I'm only going to be looking at the Chapel side of the issues, as the Die Hard portion has no relation to Spawn. Creator and story, Rob Liefeld. Pencils and inks, Jay Lee. Script, Rob Liefeld and Erik Stephenson. Color design and separations, Steve Olip and Ollie Optics. Lettering, Kurt Hathaway. Editor, Erik Stephenson. This issue takes place while Chapel, Al Simmons, and Duke are performing a mission for the CIA as part of Team Operation Knightstrike. They are raiding a cybernet safe house on the outskirts of St. Louis. They meet very little resistance on the way in, and Chapel feels like it has to be a setup. Once inside, they find a large welcoming party waiting on them. The entire intro to this comic has a beautiful, over-the-top, 90s, bad attitude, badass feel to it as the team rushes into the facility. While inside, we get to see the cybernet goons or cyborgs, where we get to see Al doing what he referenced in Spawn, fighting cyborgs. The cybernet operations is being run by a guy named Geiger. Geiger references a project Chapel is taking place in. We'll learn more about this and how the project might be used to control Chapel in later issues. Chapel was right about the job being a setup. The entire place is rigged to blow up. The team scrambles to get out in time. On the way out, Chapel kills Duke for being a traitor, specifically for selling his CI brothers down the river. Al and Chapel barely make it out in time. Back at the office, Jason Wynn makes it clear that Duke was an example of what happens to anybody who crosses their organization. I can't help but feel like this acts as an implied threat against the other 2 agents to ensure they always follow orders. And then we're shown an example of Al questioning Jason Wynn as he tries to get some clarification about what Duke did wrong. Wynn draws a pretty clear line in the sand. He's not allowed to discuss the case. But I think the underlying insinuation is pretty clear. Al shouldn't be asking questions. He should be following orders. The most Jason Wynn lets on is that it was from evidence gathered over a period of months and that Duke did himself in. We pick back up with Chapel and Jason Wynn in Wynn's office 5 years later. Al Simmons is dead. As for Chapel, he's left Central Intelligence and is joined up with Youngblood. This meeting was called by Wynn, who wants Chapel to work for him again. Chapel tells Wynn that he can have 5 minutes. As Wynn hands Chapel a file, we learn that the 2 of them parted on bad terms. Chapel looks at the file and throws it back at Wynn, telling him that he's not interested. As Chapel walks away, Wynn goes for blackmail. Wynn threatens to expose the skeletons in Chapel's closet, but Chapel calls his bluff, reminding Wynn that such a move would take both of them down. Chapel walks out, telling Wynn not to threaten him anymore. As the issue wraps up, Wynn seems unmoved and begins putting a plan in motion. Jay Lee's arts and inks in this issue are over the top in such a great way. Everything feels like pure 90s excess. We'll continue following Chapel in Youngblood Strikefile number 2. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to keep following this series and more. Thanks for watching. I'm out.